Hello, Demons Fae and those in between. This is Dizzy, and I will be continuing the Phantom and the Clone series by Vet2270. This will be the third story in the series entitled Meeting the Team. Here's the summary. The creation and introduction of the Young Justice team, where canon changes after Connor lives with Phantom after being found in Cadmus labs. Robin glances around the cave, watching as Green Lantern moves around old equipment with his ring. He's read about this base and its history, but this is the first time actually being inside. He admits it's a bit strange to see this place fixed back up to its prime, considering how many years it's been used for storage. Robin figures this spring cleaning and impromptu visit has something to do with the secret project Batman has been working on for the past couple of days. Hopefully Wally gets here soon. Knowing the speedsters, probably not. Technically, Robin was never told that his friend was arriving, but considering Batman's little field trip and Wally's message of Flash wanting to take him to a surprise place today, the answer is pretty obvious. Dick sighs after inspecting the room for the 30th time. This cave is so unfun with no one else around. Yeah, Bruce is here, but the guy's not exactly quality entertainment. He'd be better off staring at the rock walls than trying to joke around with B when he gets in Batman mode. His string of sighs and self-pity are cut off when the Zeta Tube announces the arrival of Aquaman and Aqualad. Not who he was waiting for, but he's glad to have at least someone his age finally show up. He glides over to Aqualad with an easy smile, but throughout their talk, Dick can't help but question why all the teen heroes and mentors are gathering. This is definitely related to the stunt they pulled the other day, but whether this is a punishment or acknowledgement is yet to be seen. As the two teens chat, Robin catalogs the arrival of the other adult leaguers: Red Tornado, Shazam, Black Canary. To his surprise, the Zeta Tube eventually announces the arrival of Phantom and two guests. Thinking back to Phantom's involvement in the Cadmus event, though, perhaps it shouldn't be that much of a shock. Phantom flies out of the tube with a shudder and says, "Still can't get used to those things." The baby from the lab slaps Phantom's arm with shrieks of laughter. Robin's attention, however, is immediately caught on the taller teen following the ghost hero. He's glad to see the other boy doing all right, especially after how bummed out he was after his talk with Superman. Dick isn't sure how a ghost would be able to provide for two whole kids, but both seem healthy enough, so there has to be some kind of system in place. As the group of three moves closer, Dick chokes back a laugh of surprise at the teen's wardrobe change. "Nice shirt," he says genuinely, looking at the matching symbol between the three of them. The super glances at the design, but apart from a faint blush, the boy's face remains stoic as he stares down Robin and says, "Thanks." Aqualad steps forward with a greeting as well, but Robin focuses on the shadow moving directly to Phantom's blind spot. He rolls his eyes behind his shades when the shadow rumbles out, "Phantom," causing the ghost to squeak and fly to the ceiling of the cave. Dick swears Batman enjoys scaring his coworkers more than actual criminals. When the ghost realizes it's just Batman, he floats down with an embarrassed chuckle. "Didn't see you there." Batman stares in silence until the other heroes begin fidgeting. "Come with me," he orders, then swooshes away. "Be right there," Phantom calls out with a strained laugh and quickly turns back to the teen superhero. "If I double die, make sure Neil knows about my noble sacrifice," he says, pushing the baby into the teen's arms and flying after Batman. The teen glares at the fleeing ghost and looks down to tell the baby, "Your dad has always been and will forever remain a wimp." Dick snorts at the unexpected joke. The humor is a definite change to the angry shouts from the last time he saw the boy. He notices Aqualab's lips twitching up as well. "Neil?" Robin questions with a disarming smile. He heard Phantom slip the name, but hopes he can actually get information from the boy. Thankfully, the teen is feeling generous enough to share. Well, as generous as a curt Neil, while holding up the baby can get. "Cool," he says casually, as if this isn't groundbreaking information to the Phantom identity conspiracies that he has seen in Bruce's files. "I see you and Phantom get along well," Aqualad voices in courteously. "It is nice to know you and Neil are acclimating to the outside world." The other boy shrugs, but doesn't verbally respond. Before the silence can fall from awkward to painful, the Zeta Tube finally announces the arrival of Flash and Kid Flash, and Robin has to stop himself from slumping in relief. Don't get him wrong, Aqualad and the Super are cool and all, but there's only so much conversing Dick can do when his company is either overly formal or just silent. A gust of wind flies by and ends with an arm around his shoulder. "Rob, what are you doing here?" Robin sighs in disappointment. Sure, he didn't tell the other boy his suspicions about this joint field trip, or the fact that he was also brought to a surprise place, but his friend really needs to boost his detective skills. "What do you think?" he half jokes. Before Wally can quip back, he looks at the surrounding company and zips over to the Super Teen and Neil. "Hey, Superboy, good to see you," he says, and raises his pitch to greet the baby. "And you too, remember me? I'm the one who was holding you while we were running away." The baby, whose fist was in his mouth, slaps Wally and gives him a gummy smile. "Thanks." Wally looks back up at the Super, wiping his face, but does a double take at the boy's t-shirt and whistles. "So, not Superboy then?" he asks, then frowns in concentration. "Phantom Boy?" Phantom Boy glares at Wally and compacts an impressive amount of disdain in his responding, "No." Wally hums with a hand on his chin, squinting at the taller boy. "Ghost Boy?" Then, with a sudden gasp and look of revelation, he says, "Kid Phantom." The Super, who seems to have run out of patience, stomps away without a word, determinedly ignoring Wally's shout of, "We'll workshop it." This cave was the original secret sanctuary of the Justice League, Batman announces when all the teen heroes and mentors join together. "We're calling it into service again since you four," he says pointedly to Robin and the three teens at his side, "are determined to stay together and fight the good fight. You'll do it on League terms. Red Tornado volunteered to live here and be your supervisor. Black Canary's in charge of your hand-to-hand combat training, and Phantom will oversee your power training. I will deploy you on missions." Dick can admit the idea of them having their own base is awesome, but the amount of adults monitoring them makes him question how much freedom they actually have. "Real missions?" Robin asks challengingly. "Yes, but covert," Batman responds. "The League will still handle the obvious stuff," Flash pipes in. "There's a reason we have big targets on our chests." "But Cadmus proves the bad guys are getting smarter," Aquaman says. "Batman needs a team that can operate on the sly." "The 5 of you will be that team," Batman declares. Kid Flash beams. "Cool!" but falters momentarily. "Wait, 5? Robin sincerely hopes they're not including the baby, and judging by the way the teen Super's grip on Neil tightens, he's thinking the same. Before a fight could break out between Batman and the teen, one that Robin would have happily sat out, 2 steps of footprints sound out behind them. He turns to see Martian Manhunter walking towards the group, followed closely by a green-skinned girl with red hair. Behind him, Batman explains, this is Martian Manhunter's niece, Miss Martian. The girl, Miss Martian, gives the group a wave and a friendly, "Hi." Dick smiles and waves back, rolling his eyes at Wally's muttered, "Liking this gig more every minute." His friend takes a confident step forward. "Welcome aboard. I'm Kid Flash. That's Robin, Aqualad." He introduces, but then comments, "It's cool if you forget their names." Dick retracts his earlier statement. Maybe Aqualad and the other boy weren't such bad company after all. "I'm honored to be included," Miss Martian says, prompting him and Aqualad to step closer. As Aqualad and Miss Martian exchange greetings, however, Robin notices the last boy never moved forward. He turns to call him over, but realizes he still doesn't have a code name. He absolutely refuses to use one of Kid Flash's suggestions and decides to just shout, "Hey!" hoping to grab his attention. Thankfully, it does. "Come meet Miss M." The boy hands Neil to Phantom and steps over to the group. He is approached by Miss Martian, who shifts her white and red outfit to black and white. "I like your t-shirt," she says in explanation. Robin makes note of these strange clothes, but puts away his question to instead smirk and elbow the taller teen. Kid Flash zooms over to put an arm over the boy's shoulder, and Dick can feel his grin grow wider at the thought of Wally being jealous of a 5-day-old. "Today is the day," Aqualad states, and Robin can't help but feel excited for the future of this team. This team is going nowhere. Dick tries to be optimistic, but as the teens are sent off to tour the mountain after almost 2 weeks of zero action, he can see the truth in Speedy's claims. This team is just a club to keep them busy. At least Miss Martian seems happy, and Wally by extension. Dick feels a bit bad for her. It must be boring to live in this cave all on her own. He doesn't hesitate to share the history of the mountain and its past use. But the tour comes to a close when the super teen announces something burning, and Miss Martian flies away. The 4 boys follow her to the kitchen in time to see her telekinetically place a tray of burnt circles on the counter. I was trying out Grammy Jones's recipe from episode 17 of... Never mind, she says shyly. Dick looks at the sad, charred lumps on the tray and then plasters on a smile. I bet they'd have tasted great. He hears a disturbingly loud crunch and has to stop himself from gagging when he sees Wally eating the charcoal. Wally must have noticed the eyes on him, though, because he looks around and weakly explains, I have a serious metabolism. Dude, Dick whispers in disbelief. I'll make more? Miss Martian says, uncertainly. The super, who has remained pretty uninterested throughout the tour, looks at the tray and snorts. Rude, Dick thinks. Sure, they look terrible, but there's no need to be a jerk about it. It was sweet of you to make any, Aqualad interjects, with a hint of irritation bleeding into his words as he sends a sharp look to the super. The boy frowns at Aqualad, then glances at the counter with a shrug. It could be worse. You should see Danny's cooking attempts. The boy picks up a cookie and takes a bite with a carefully blank expression. He tried to make cookies once, and they bit him. The other teens all share bewildered looks, not really knowing which part of that sentence to focus on. Robin asks, Who bit him? The cookies. He nods with a forced smile. Right. Silly me. Who's Danny? Aqualad asks. And Dick quickly realizes that probably should have been his first priority. The boy frowns at them. Phantom? Robin freezes. He notices Kid Flash and Aqualad doing the same. This is big. This is information that their mentors have been arguing about for years, and the boy in front of them just shares it like it's nothing. Miss Martian probably doesn't realize the severity of the boy's confession, perks up in excitement. I did not realize Phantom had a real name. Robin was prepared for the boy to realize his slip-up and deny it ever happened. He is not ready for the boy to look confused and say, It's not like it's a secret. He debuted by calling himself Danny Phantom. The boy looks up at Robin. Batman probably knows. It was in the papers and everything, apparently. Robin, who has seen said man work himself to the brink of exhaustion trying to retrieve any information on Phantom that has not already been scrubbed or blocked, is 110% sure Batman does not, in fact, know Phantom's first name. The infamous Amity Park that Phantom refers to as his home base is practically a dead zone, pun intended. I see, Miss Martian nods. My identity is no secret either. It's Megan Morose, but you can just call me Megan. It's an Earth name, and I'm on Earth now, she rambles on. Aqualad is the first to regain his composure. Call me Calderum, he says, but continues. Actually, my friends call me Calder. Kid Flash shakes off his shock by eating another cookie. I'm Wally, he says, very clearly only to Miss Martian. See, I already trust you with my secret ID, unlike Mr. Dark Glasses over there. Batman's forbidden boy wonder from telling anyone his real name. Dick scowls. It's not his fault Bruce is so paranoid. Connor. All 4 look at the boy, who is trying to hide the charred remains in his hands. The boy glares at the sun in attention and repeats himself. My name is Connor. Robin hears McGann gasp from behind him, but his thoughts are preoccupied with the amount of information he's learned within one afternoon. Information that not even Batman has. He smirks in triumph. How's that for keeping busy? Extra. How did Connor know about Danny's debut? Ellie, who lives to make her brother suffer. You want to hear about Danny's embarrassing start as a hero? Connor, who also lives to make Danny suffer. Absolutely, I do. This concludes the reading of Meeting the Team by Vet2270. I love this. First of all, I love that we get a bit more of Connor, and I love that he's still so protective of Neil. It's so cute, and I love how Phantom trusts Connor to handle Neil, like, without hesitation. He's just like, here, take the baby. It's so cute. Also, it's really cool that Phantom actually gets to be a part of their training. If I'm being honest, I did not expect that. I did not expect Phantom to be a part of this team, but it makes so much sense because obviously Phantom wants to take care of his kids. And given that Phantom is like top class when it comes to powers because he has so fucking many, it makes sense. And I also think that it's a really good opportunity for Phantom to talk more about himself because it's very clear that he doesn't with a lot of them. So I think it would be really fucking funny if Phantom was just like, oh yeah, I'm this, this, and this, to all of the teen heroes. And every single one of them is just like, what the fuck? Because none of the adults know about this. I love the idea that Phantom wasn't intentionally being secretive. He just assumed everything. He just assumed everyone knew everything about him. So he was just like, fuck it. And now he's just like really chill about just telling people everything. It makes me so happy. I love this so much. I love that we get Robin's POV because honestly, I do love him as a character. I think he's very interesting, especially Dick Grayson in particular. Mostly because I relate to him on like several different levels, but that's irrelevant. But it's really cool that we actually get Robin, and I love the Young Justice Robin. I feel like, not that it's the most accurate version, but I like that it shows his mischievousness more than some of the other depictions do, because to my knowledge, Dick Grayson as Robin was a little shit a lot of the time. And I like that the Young Justice version of him actually gets to be a little shit. I love his little cackle in the show. It's just great. But I love that we're getting some of his POV in this because it really shows just his character. And I just love this. I'm so glad that I got permission to continue reading this. It's wonderful. I am so happy that I get to do it. It's so cute. And it's really cool that we get to see all of them interacting. And I love that Connor is chill. Because I think, if I remember correctly, in the original show, he was a bit uptight and kind of nervous because obviously he was expecting to get fucking murdered. So I love getting to see him being relaxed and calm and just enjoying himself with these teens. I also forgot to mention, but I love how in the last work of this, we actually got to saw him deciding to become a hero just because he wants to make people happy, like he saw Ellie doing. I think that's so cute, and I love that that's his motivation this time around because it's so much less fucked up that way. And I love that Phantom is just like, hey, if you're gonna fucking do it, I'm gonna fucking help you. And that's why he's there. I love it so much. This is so cute. I've been rambling for like a solid minute or two now. So anyways, please share your thoughts on this golden piece. And don't forget to reach out to the original author, as always, linked in the description. In addition, let me know if you have any recommendations. I'm always looking to add to my horde, especially if you guys have any How to Train Your Dragon books. I love that fandom, and I've been looking for something to read for it because I do want to have more than just Danny Phantom on my channel. Because yeah, I originally made this channel to have a variety of fandoms on it because there are so many channels who only stick with one fandom, and as much as I love that and it's great to have so many works dedicated to it, I think that it leaves out a lot of other people who may not be in the fandom or may not like certain fandom stuff. So I would like to kind of have fun with this. I want to provide these audio book things to as many people as I can because it's important to me. And seriously, if you could help me out with spreading this to other fandoms, I would so greatly appreciate it. And of course, thank you all for listening to this Dragon's Horde.